The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leadership Podcast. And of course, it's another edition of The Big Issue. And as usual, I'm here with the studio with our in-house analyst, Adebi Adedapo.
It's good to be here today.
And Tunde Oguntola.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, today we will be discussing the big issue of the day, which is the Senate's call on President Buhari to declare bandits terrorists. Just a couple of hours after the Senate had asked President Muhammadu Buhari to declare bandits terrorists, the daredevil gunslingers attacked a community in Niger State, killing 30 people and abducting many others. Of course, the Senate on Wednesday implored Buhari to, as a matter of urgency, declare the bandits as terrorists and wage a total war against them. Specifically, the Red Chamber told the president to give orders to the military to eliminate them by bombing their hideouts. The Senate also asked President Buhari to immediately declare all known leadership of the bandits wanted and track them wherever they are for arrest and prosecution. This formed part of resolution reached after the chamber had considered the motion sponsored by Senator Ibrahim Bobia on banditry in Sokoto during plenary. Presenting his motion, the lawmaker lamented that Sokoto East Senatorial District has now become a safe haven for bandits, following a crackdown on them by the military in neighboring Zamfara. He expressed worry that on Saturday, September 25 this year, 21 security personnel were killed in Tama and Gangara villages by the rampaging bandits. The lawmaker disclosed that those murders included 15 soldiers, 3 mobile policemen, and 3 members of Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. In addition to yet to be a certain number of civilians from the surrounding villages. And of course, in his response, the Senate President Ahmed Lawan called for increased funding for the military, asking relevant committees of the National Assembly to ensure that the funds appropriated to the armed forces are judiciously applied for purpose for which they are budgeted. And of course, the Senate President in the Senate's resolution urged the President and Commander-in-Chief to declare the bandits as terrorists and wage total war against them. But no sooner had the Senate passed the damning verdict on the bandits than the criminals invaded Kachiwe in Moyan local government area of Niger State, killing 30 and abducting many of the villagers. It was learned that the bandits on motorcycles invaded the village in the evening and shot randomly at the villagers. Well, as of press time yesterday, no fewer than 30 persons were confirmed dead. In the light of the Senate's resolution, Buhari should declare terrorists as bandits. B. Who is actually a terrorist? And we understand to be a terrorist organization.
Well, first, let me start by congratulating the National Assembly, not just the Senate. Because at this morning, there was a motion on the floor of the House of Representatives. The chairman of the Committee of Defense, Senator Honorable Babajimi Benson, he also raised the motion to the effect that President Muhammadu Buhari should declare banditry as a terrorist act. And like the question you asked, there was this concern about who are the bandits. And because part of his prayer in that motion was that the president should proscribe banditry. And the speaker was quick to call his attention to the fact that bandits are not a known group. They have no organized group where you can identify them and say we have prescribed the activities of your group. But what eventually they did was to say that the president should declare all forms of banditry as a terrorist act. Now, when you look at it very critically, the call itself by both the Senate and House of Representatives is a laudable one. However, I think Nigeria should not be in a hurry to jubilate because we know the problem we are battling with. We know that the modus operandi of these bandits in every part of Nigeria, they are the same. They kidnap people, collect money, ransom before their victims are released, and in some cases, they even collect the ransom and kill the victim. So this operation goes on in almost every part of Nigeria, especially the northwest. So, and to say that bandits are not known group, it is correct in a sense. But in another sense, I think we should ask ourselves, who created that identity, that nomenclature, bandits? Who created it? Did they come out to say, we are bandits and this is how we want to operate? So the nomenclature banditry or bandit itself is a creation of the media. So we cannot, terrorism is terrorism. They are there, we know them, the activities, when they kill people, you abduct people, collect ransom and all that. This is a clear way of terrorizing innocent Nigerians. However, because some quarters of the media wanted to, at that time, downplay the effects of their activities. Because if you look at the meaning of banditry, it is a very mild way of describing the activities of these terrorists. So I'm happy, and I think we should applaud the National Assembly that they finally were able to stand up to the president and tell him what the right thing to do. And let's look at the hypocrisy here. I'm not aware that the National Assembly had to pass a resolution by way of any motion to declare IPOB a terrorist organization. I'm also not aware that the National Assembly, either chambers of the National Assembly, passed a resolution by way of a motion to say Sunday Igboho or Yoruba Nation agitators should be tagged as terrorists. But why is it that after all the deadly attacks of this group of people called bandits, the president has refused to declare their activities as terrorism, and now the National Assembly is now forced? Because you will appreciate their frustration when every other legislative day they come to talk about the insecurity in their various constituencies. Some of them on the floor of the house, to express their frustration, they will even weep. I remember one honorable Tukura from Niger State. The day he said that about 15,000 of his constituents are now living in IDP camps, and it was underreported according to him. So all those things happen, and nobody cared to label those activities as a terrorist act. And for God's sake, when you even think that these people have no known demand, then you begin to wonder, what else could terrorism mean? I mean, somebody like Garba Shehu, this resolution of the National Assembly, is a very senior person on the job, but I think he should bury his head. Because he has responded to calls from all sections of the media that why have they not been declared as terrorists? Why the word banditry? And what he said was that what President Muhammadu Buhari has done, that is the order the president has issued as regards how to deal with bandits, is even more deadly. It's even more, I cannot remember the exact word, but what he said was that it was even a tougher punishment, if I can use that word, compared to declaring the activities as a terrorist act. Well, so I think by now you should also understand that Nigerians are thinking alike, and we should all know that this country cannot be safe for anybody until it is safe for all of us.
Well, Tunde, your friend he made a very salient point here. He said President Buhari was not persuaded by the Senate before he quickly declared IPOB a terrorist group. That is why most Nigerians, many Nigerians, are worried about why the president is reluctant to tag the bandits terrorists, because gory activities, the gory attacks they have undertaken within a couple of years is more than what the normal terrorists even do. Why do you think? What is the reason for the delay? What do you think the president is finding it reluctant? Is it that just like Biggie said, that the speaker said that bandits are not known group, are not a known group? Why do you think?
Well, it's so sad that we find ourselves in this pitiable situation as a country. And I must say, it's also sad that the federal government, for all I care, despite all money being spent to tackle the menace of so-called bandits in quotes, that we still find ourselves in this situation. However, from my own understanding, anybody that has the capacity to unleash terror on humans is a terrorist. And I must say, we must stop treating issues of this matter with kid looks. Because when you keep doing this, you are like opening a vacuum for other insecurity or problems. You understand me? Okay, these people we kidnap for ransom. In most situations, they also kill their victims. And you say they are not terrorists. My brother, they are terrorists. Anybody who has the capacity to do that, yes, although the president has said anybody found with AK-47 should be shoot. If it's part of what Garba is trying to defend, that there are other measures. You understand me? It's not like what they are doing is not equal to the kind of hardship these people have caused to Nigerian populace. If you go to Katsina State, the governor is totally almost helpless. During the recent meeting with him alongside Muhammad, he was like, yes, although they are making efforts, you understand me, but it's still a serious menace owing to the fact that the president's state is being affected, that is Katsina. Same thing is happening in Sokoto East. Same thing is happening in Zamfara East, Zamfara State. If an insecurity situation can lead to the federal government ordering the telecom services to switch off network to fight a particular set of people, they are terrorists.
Yes,
Because of the kind of hardship, because of the kind of serious problem these people are causing. Kaduna State now, in part of Kaduna State, they've also switched off telecom services. Look at this hardship. Business cannot go as usual. Even funding, seeking funds for academics, doing research for academics are totally impossible. And you say they are not terrorists. They are terrorists. I think the government should change its position on issues like this so that it will not also lead to other insecurity challenge.
well, you were talking about commending the National Assembly because they will congregate at plenary and begin to. Most Nigerians consider it as lip service because at the end of the day, most times when they pass this resolution, you don't see the push. Some people are even saying that it's even too late to tag the bandits terrorists. Why is it now that the lawmakers are calling for bandits to be declared terrorists? Is it because it has affected the Senate who had the courage to bring up the matter before the Senate plenary? Don't forget that I think a senator was affected, was hit by these bandits. Now, who was his?
Are you referring to Senator Banana?
Yes, this one was killed.
But that wasn't that was a robbery. That was a robbery situation.
Most people say it was bandits.
No, it wasn't. It was armed robbery. However, when you see, to be very fair to the lawmakers, and I'm not saying this because I want to defend them. You cannot say anybody in this country is more affected than them, and this is because they are the people voted for them from every part of Nigeria, and before before the voters, the Nigerians cry out to anybody, they remember to call them first. Because political party members are living in the community. Either you are in the APC or in the PDP. And you need to hear these people speak. The Honorable Yakubu Bade, you remember 2 or 3 different members of the House of Representatives, they have called on National Assembly to enact a law that will enable Nigerians, adult Nigerians, to be in possession of firearms so that they can defend themselves. So they are not just saying that because they like Nigerians to carry firearms, but because they have seen the enormity of the problems their constituents are going through. And they are frustrated. They see that the federal government is not tackling this thing head on, so they needed to mount pressure. Remember, many of these honorable members, in most cases, their constituents even beg them for ransom to pay bandits. They beg them for ransom. The traditional ruler of Chikun, wherever they came from, I think his child was kidnapped. They asked him for 200 million naira. They called Bade to go and bring 200 million naira. The man said he doesn't have. Where would he get 200 million? He didn't tell us the full story. Maybe he gave them some money to pay the bandits. But it is not far-fetched. Even governments, state governors are confessed to have paid these bandits. So, I mean, they are as affected as every other Nigerian.
You're on point, B. But before we continue, let's quickly take a short break for some kind of publicity. But before we do that, please, we'll urge our viewers to actually contribute to this program by sending in their comments. Because, of course, they help in setting the base for conversation. We'll be back in a moment.
It's time for a standing ovation for a country once called Niger area, but now Nigeria. 8 governor generals. Head of states. Six presidents.
Nigeria, a country filled with milk and honey, gained her independence in 1960 from the British colony. However, became a republic in 1963. Since then, she has flourished in different sectors: agriculture, economy, health, sports, and many more.
36 states, 1 federal capital, diverse ethnic groups. Today, Nigeria is 61. Happy independence, Nigeria.
The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Welcome back. Well, we are still on the Big Issue in Leadership Podcast. And of course, the big issue of the day is the call by the Senate for President Muhammadu Buhari to declare bandits terrorist group. There's something I observed. You see, it's like the bandits tend to become appearing anytime a declaration is made against them. If you hear, sometimes the president will give a marching order, and once the story comes out and it's everywhere in the media, maybe like something like Buhari gives marching orders to security chiefs to deal decisively with bandits, or just like what the Senate did yesterday, asking the president, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, to declare the terrorists, even the bandits, terrorists, and then bomb them wherever they are. It was just a few hours to that pronouncement, that resolution of the Senate was taken before this attack where 30 persons were killed in Niger State. It seems these bandits will just sit down and watch. And when they hear such things, they say, okay, hold this talk. Let's show you that we don't believe much in talking. How is this action? Did you observe that too?
George, the fact is insecurity is a serious reality in Nigeria. And however, when it comes to issue of insecurity, it is multifaceted and it also starts in different phases. You understand? Okay, this one issue that we now, the media call them bandits, not terrorists. However, why the Senate and National Assembly are calling Buhari to tag them as terrorists, they often they are. It started with cattle rustling in 2014 in Zamfara State. They go, they rustle cows, they sell, they rustle thousands of people a day. Fulani herdsmen complain, stories will be sent, statements will be issued by the Meitiala group. Soon, it moves to attack on miners in Zamfara State. They're basically attacking the mining sites so as well because the fact that they have money to pay. That's in 2016. So if 2014 they were rustling cow, 2016 the banditry now started in a large scale. Till date, it shows the fact that yes, if for failing to tackle an issue, an insecurity issue, it moves to the next stage. Okay, now we are calling them bandits and we are asking the president to call these people terrorists. If he's refusing, they will become more deadlier. That is very simple. You understand? How did Boko Haram started? They started like, okay, that school is haram. Today, who are they? Okay, from Boko Haram, it moves to ISWAP. Boko Haram, ISWAP, attacking the northeast. So the president needs to understand that this issue, no matter how small it is, insecurity must be tackled quickly and urgently. Because bandits, they are calling them bandits, but they have the capacity to fire down aeroplane, and they are bandits. You call them bandits, they will go kill 30 people, adopt hundreds of students, and you say they are bandits. They are terrorists. Okay, now, not only bandits are kidnapping, the insurgents, Boko Haram itself, they are also kidnapping, or are they not? The Chibok girls, were they not kidnapped? Now, if they are traveling by a road along Maiduguri, it's also unsafe. Boko Haram are also kidnapping. It's now becoming a kidnapping Nigerian PLC.
Well, you see, the reason why I asked this question is because government claims to have been doing a lot to crush this criminal element. Yet they are gaining ground in their nefarious activities on a daily basis. Which means that there's something the government is not doing right at all. Well, where do you think the government and the security agencies are getting it wrong? What do you think we need to change our security strategy?
Well, you wouldn't be wrong to say that. But let's look at it this way. There is a coordinated arrangement to put Nigeria in an ungovernable situation. And I refuse to be persuaded or to believe that Boko Haram in the northeast and banditry in the northwest is just a mere coincidence. And people have been asking questions. Who are the sponsors of the bandits, the so-called bandits? Who are the sponsors of Boko Haram? And what is their agenda? Remember, that question has never been answered. So that leaves us to the fact that there is more to know. Let's get it this way.
Especially when you begin to imagine that most people have come out to allege that even the bandits and Boko Haram sponsors are in government. Their informants are in government.
The truth is that there are many
The former
many
members
roads
are
leading
even
to
wanted
bandits.
to Azoro, that they are there too.
There are many roads into a market.
No, they say there's no smoke without fire.
There is an agenda,
Yeah.
and the agenda can be achieved by sponsoring bandits, by sponsoring Boko Haram, and by encouraging ISWAP. So wherever that is coming from, I think that is for security and the intelligence community to determine or to fish out. However, I think as Nigerians and the Nigerian government, we underestimate the problem at hand. We see it as a Nigerian problem. I said it there the last time that this is beyond an internal crisis for Nigerians. Do you imagine a situation whereby United Arab Emirates is investigating the source of funding for bandits and Boko Haram? Can we call that a local situation? It is not a local problem, and I will not be surprised if foreign countries, especially United Arab Emirates, have shared intelligence reports with the government. So there is a lot the government is not telling us. Number one, I expect that by now, the NIA, the DSS, and all this, the intelligence community should ask, oh, who are these people called bandits and what is their aim? They should tell Nigerians. Because you cannot tell us that these people kidnap, collect money in thousands of naira, in millions of naira, and you see them looked at everywhere, and they're the ones spending the money. No. The truth is that there is a coordinated arrangement to make Nigeria, to put Nigeria in crisis. And there is a group, a cartel, that is coordinating that is sponsoring it. So by now, we should know who they are and what they want. It is until we get to the genesis of this, the root of this problem, that we can find solution. But if you just go to one forest and you know there is a new word we use now, neutralize, and you claim to have neutralized, I don't know the number of times the Nigerian military, Nigerian Navy, Nigerian Air Force and Nigerian Army have neutralized.
And
Yes, they are multiplying.
Why some others escape with gunshot injury?
Yes, you see them perpetrating this evil acts in every part of Nigeria. So I think whatever it is they're doing, without getting to the root of the problem, without letting Nigerians know, so that we can also join in the fight, however, whichever way we can, it will just amount to window dressing.
Yes, because the Northeast governors had always insisted that a lot needs to be done in terms of equipping the military and the rest. And there's another thing I observed is that there seems to be no coordination in the operations of the military. You see, now the military is operating in Zamfara, where all network had been shut. And then there in Zamfara, they are bombing, attacking, still waging onslaught on the criminals. And then, from what we have heard, they seem to be fleeing from that part of the country downwards. And then most Nigerians believe that the ones coming from Zamfara and all those core northern areas are the ones coming down to begin to attack in places like Kaduna and Niger State. So that, yes, so at the end of the day, don't you think the military should take note of this kind of situation whenever they are planning the operation, so that as they are staging the onslaught there, they always prepare the ground here, so that as the fleeing ones, as they come here, they too will be bombed and attacked. That is where the problem.
The military has an intelligence department. There's a directorate of military intelligence. They know these things even better than we do. But like I said, until we know who these people are and what they want, don't be stupid. Are you aware that there was a time they wanted to arrest a kidnapping people, and they were very close? They were closing in on the person, and by the time they got to the house, they were going to arrest the person. They found a phone and a very hot meal on that table, and the person fled. They didn't see the person. So that shows you that there are modes within the security circle. There are modes. So I mean, security is not just buying guns, giving people to go and wipe people out.
Yes,
No. We should know who are these people and who are their collaborators. What is the connection with those who are even working with us?
Sorry to cut you short. The military as the Senate asks the military to bomb the bandits wherever they are. It means there has been some kind of selective onslaught on the criminals. it shows the armed forces and its commander-in-chief ought to do more because something is happening. When they say wherever they are, that means even the onslaught, the attacks, the bombing of these criminals had just been in selected places.
I said the other
That's
time
so
that
worried, don't you think so?
Well, I think we need to work more on our intelligence gathering because I think we've failed when it comes to intelligence gathering. Owing to the fact that
But how will intelligence gathering work when you heard B say that? It's like there's an
Now, let me
infiltration of the intelligence community where at the end of the day,
Perhaps.
some of this intelligence sharing is not working. As soon as that before
see-
if you share intelligence, even the bandits will be aware of your next
the
move.
North, for instance, I will tell you where our problems are. In as much as you're a Muslim, for instance, coming from any part of the world, once you come to the North, you are welcome. This is a serious problem. That person, they will give that person a house according to what Islam said. Since he said, Islam alaikum, peace be unto you, you should welcome that person. Provide. But at the moment, things have changed. That person that said Assalamu alaikum to you overnight might just be there to watch you, to know how you eat, how you sleep, only for him to come back at night to attack you. You understand? Why we keep playing host to people from Niger and Chad? These people are also causing serious havoc here in Nigeria. You understand?
I think,
So each Nigerian have to have a digital identity. You understand? Gone are those days when if you visit a community, the village head must be aware. If not the village head, the district head or the zonal head will bring that person forward to the king of that community and say, he is new here. Okay, and the king will ask him, what are you here for? He will state the reasons why. But now nobody cares. In fact, you're always welcome. It will add more to our population. While voting, it will also help us. Please enjoy. Do you need a wife? We'll give you a wife. What can you do? Shoemaking, anything, small trade, you do. So we need to change our tactics. We need to know that this is Nigeria and every region has a right in this
Thank you
one.
very much. Finally, BEC, the resolution of the Senate, from their resolution, it appears the lawmakers don't believe in dialogue. What is your position on dialogue with bandits and bombing them?
well,
Dialogue.
Which one should be encouraged?
I think you agree with me that two different state governments shut their doors to dialogue with
Yes,
bandits.
Mr. said no more.
Mutawale said they wasn't going to.
After giving them enough money
After
already.
giving them.
They
The same
use the
thing with
money to buy
Katsina
more house.
State governor, Aminu Bello.
That's
right.
So that tells you that the dialogue is not going to work in this situation. However, my fear with the call from the National Assembly is that we still don't have an identity for these terrorists. We call them bandits. And if you look at the definition of banditry, is anybody who will lay you on the road, take possession of your things and all that. So that does mean that every little crime in any part of Nigeria that is similar, similar to what they do now, what these band terrorists
Abduction
do,
and kidnapping.
then I think we have a very good record. Let me not say that. It's a very good record of extrajudicial killing in this country. And if the president agrees to this and says, okay, whatever looks like banditry, go and classify it as terrorism and wage war on them, then we are in for trouble. Because if somebody is coming at night and you meet the person on the road, I suspect it's a bandit. And so I think we should do more in identifying those, because in every society there is crime, there are criminals. And you cannot treat every crime as same. So you cannot say anybody you meet in any. Remember, just recently, some people said they arrested some persons and they said they were X-Men, and eventually when they investigated, they said they were no longer X-Men. So imagine that the Nigerian military have gotten wind of these persons and called them terrorists, and they have killed and neutralized them in the words of Nigeria Army. What will be saying that amounts to extrajudicial killing, and it is not good for our human rights. So I think there are still more the intelligence community should do in letting us identify who these people are, what they want, and we cannot take it off.
Thank you very much. And of course, you see, when you say you tag even criminals, terrorists like Amro, is it not better? Because by the time you do that, crime will stop. But that is the much we can take for today's edition of the big issue. And of course, I hope you had a nice time keeping tab with us out there. And of course, I'll thank our in-house analysts who have actually done a very good job interrogating the issue of the day. Join us same time tomorrow for another edition, not just an edition. Tomorrow's edition will be the Independence edition. And of course, I know you will not want to be left out and you will not want to miss out. Thank you for being with us. And of course, have a very wonderful day. Goodbye.